Thank you for joining Space Between What's Happening. Joey Natolo, and I'm here with Johnney Messner, old friend. What's up, bro?
Hey, man.
What's happening? So we're just dropping in. What were we talking about before this? The cameras rolled. We were going over the
synchronicity of our lives, basically.
Yeah. Synchronicities.
How it all connects one way or another. We've seemed to find all of these people come in our lives that there's a connection to. I feel like
totally. When we met, it was interesting. When we met, I didn't even really know that you knew you were an actor. I guess everybody that's a bartender is an actor. But I mean, you were a bartender. That's how I met you.
Yeah.
And we were just doing lots of ecstasy and having a really wonderful time.
Yeah, it was.
Wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
It was cool. But that was like probably, 25?
At least.
The tea room? Martini room. The martini room, yeah. But it's interesting going back to the synchronicities and thinking of, were you acting then?
I mean, I was.
Or you started acting when you left?
I said I was an actor.
Take us through when you left to New York, why you left, how you got back. Because I ended up going to jail for a little bit, why that happened, and we went to New York. That's how it started.
We went to New York and started transporting some beautiful medical marijuana, but not at the time.
Was it medical? Yeah.
Right. And we started to do that, and that was good. I mean, that was good for a minute.
Yeah.
And then it went wrong. I remember we had got some things from you, and then put them on a bus with this Tim's loser brother. And,
Can you back? So Tim, So explain yourself. So how Johnny, how his acting career, success of the career started was he had a load of weed that got lost, and he decided after the weed got lost, he said, I'm going to go to New York and pursue my acting. That's kind of what happened.
Kind of. Yeah, that's a great way to put it. I'll keep that one in my memory banks. Yes, it was definitely that. It was also out of fear, but yes, definitely left because I needed to try to pay back, and figured that was the only option that I had, and then got there and shifted. It was one of my first biggest shifts, and took a while, and then just bartended still, and slowly but surely did commercial print work, and then started getting in better shape and stopped being,
and
the
shape,
madness.
dude, is crazy. Like, because when you left, and that's the funny
I was like
thing.
260.
Oh, you were huge, bro. And the thing was, when you left, all the things that happened were because of a really fucked situation.
Yep.
Right? And then all the things that you left for while we're sitting here.
Exactly right.
That's a synchronicity, bro.
It is.
That's why I was going like, that's a trip, because I was pissed. Like, Johnny lost 100 pounds.
Yeah, no,
and
it's
then
the worst. He
left, and so when I saw you again, we were at the Playboy Mansion, and you walked by me, and you had your glasses that were half on, half off. Like, that was your
Guy
outfit.
in the wind.
Do you remember?
Yeah.
And you walked by me, but you looked like the Greek Adonis dude. Like, before you were like 260, you were big, you couldn't even see your face. And you walked by, and you're like, yo, Natolo. And I looked at you, and I'm like, what's up, bro? You're like, it's me. And you didn't really have an outfit on. You just had glasses that were crooked. Like I couldn't recognize you, but it wasn't the glasses. You looked different. You looked like you physically, you coughed out somebody or something.
I did. I basically got rid of half of me.
Yeah.
That was, and then I saw you at the Super Bowl party, I remember, and you were like, holy shit, like, how is that even possible?
But you were popular too, because I saw you Think Again, and you cruised through, you had a mohawk, or you were doing
doing Tears of the Sun.
Yeah, with Bruce Willis.
Mm-hmm. I remember going back to New York and having that was like the best time in New York to be there. It was like early, mid 90s, right? Like something like that. It was like mid 90s, and it was just when Biggie had just come out, and the scene there was sick, and so I basically just I didn't start really getting invested into any kind of career, but just bartended and was just into the mix until
drugs, women,
consistently alcohol, drugs, and women, and that was, but it was fun then, so that was the time to do it.
Right, no, and when you're looking to make money and in ways like for us, like remember Ray, I gotta watch the names I say, but all of us were just trying to make money and create ways of not having to hustle with hustle.
Right.
Yeah. And it's interesting.
Not having to do the
I'm going to do this so I don't have to do this.
That's right. I don't want to do this kind of work, so I'm going to do this kind of work.
Right. Mm-hmm. I think that's how I got into the film business, as we were talking about. I was like, well, I don't think you need a high school diploma.
Nope.
You don't need shit, really. Didn't mean I made a good movie. I'm just saying that I was able to sneak in, and I just started writing like just ideas that were just about things that we had done.
Right.
Yeah, like the scene in A Man Apart with Timothy Olyphant when he shoots that guy. That character was three of our friends all smashed into one. It was it was me, Doug White, and Jeff, who passed away. But it was interesting because I didn't actually think that movie would get done, and it was just an idea
Right.
that
Based
happened,
off of your life, your journey.
just idea,
Yeah.
never.
How
thought.
many of those people are still alive in that mix, you think?
I mean,
You and I, but
I mean, if we talk, even like last time we spoke, we said Marcelo. Well, he's serving like 10 years. Or he's,
he's a rare.
yeah. But everybody that, it depends. Like from the younger years, all those friends have died from addiction or heroin. Something.
What about Bryce?
What's so funny is Bryce ended up popping back up in my life again.
Really?
But I remember he did a lot of people wrong and took off.
He did a lot of people
all
wrong.
that whole crew that you hung out with. I remember
Simon, all those
Catheter.
guys,
He really did some people wrong, and and I know that I think he really hated himself for it, but he was trying to act like he wasn't. Then he had a kid, but it just he ruined himself.
How did he end up coming back around to you? Because he has never come back around to me.
I saw him at a gym. I saw him at a gym, and he was doing something, and I'm like, hey, what's happening?
Wow.
But he was laying low. Nobody wanted to talk to him.
No, he as they say in this cancel culture, he was canceled.
Yeah, totally.
Which, by the way, I'm not a huge fan of the cancel culture.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, but he. Yeah.
What do you
I was looking at Ben. I was just looking at
Ben.
Funny, he's talking about. I was looking at Simon Rex's shit because he's a funny dude.
He's hilarious.
Dude. Now he goes. Yeah, I said.
He's on this path.
Is he? Because it says the shaman. It says something now because it's funny because Ben, me and Ben were real close.
Yeah, I love Ben, but he's never spent more than a week out of prison.
No, I know. Is he in prison right now?
I don't. I mean, I haven't seen.
He's
him.
like seriously like his dad was my dean. I dated his. I mean,
wow.
Oh yeah, no, me and Ben were like.
Yeah,
but he was like the
Ben.
little, like the young buck, and then became a big model and started tattooing himself. But that's how I met Simon, and somehow I got onto his Instagram.
It's funny.
Dude, he's always been a funny dude.
Yeah, he's always had a good energy, a good spirit. He's never been.
No. I've never seen
anything
him talking shit. But if it was always in a
funny way, and
totally.
and also self-deprecating. So it's never, that's the best thing about it. It's one of the best.
What's funny is I ended up connecting and becoming really close with one of his childhood friends from where he grew up. This kid Azar. This kid he grew up with, Azar, came out to my house for a party to see Simon, and then I ended up becoming really close friends with this kid.
It's amazing, the more awakened.
So what? So he is because
he's done. I think he's done Bufo and Little Cambo maybe. But as far as the way he lives his life now, it's definitely like that. It's simple, and I think he was out in the desert for most of this time, and he's totally into the.
Really? Mm-hmm. I was wondering. I was looking at it, and I'd love to talk to him. And I could tell
a camper that he travels in. And just,
yeah. No, he's hysterical, dude. He's hysterical.
Yeah.
He's always been a funny cat like that. You know what I mean? Like beats to his own drum. But I appreciate.
Yeah. He's that. Yeah.
Have you seen Brandon Williams at all?
Whoa, man! God, not for a while. I know his brother passed away, right?
He did?
Not Brandon Williams. Oh, I'm thinking of.
Holy shit!
I have seen Brandon Williams. I was thinking about Brandon Davis.
Oh yeah.
Didn't his brother pass?
Something like that, or Brandon.
His brother, I think.
Something like that.
Who I was in treatment with at one point.
Yeah.
Brandon Williams, yeah. I mean, he's living the life.
Yeah.
He makes me laugh too. He's a very funny guy too.
So when you started, let me ask you. So when all this stuff started happening, when did you actually feel? Because we both. I don't want to say suffered. That's the wrong word for it.
No, we're just learning some tough lessons.
Yeah. But with addiction and self-medication and trying to,
fill the holes.
Yeah, and just try to, like when you drink or you do these things to kind of to suppress feelings and thoughts that are happening in oneself. and then all of a sudden when you stop these things, these thoughts and feelings aren't so bad when you start to clear the shit out. But what I was asking that is, for you were taking a lot of pills, because I was on a lot of pills too, and I didn't know how I was going to stop.
Yeah, no, that's the thing.
They have this thing at like UCLA where I think they drain your blood, or you know what I'm talking about? That's like,
yeah.
I was almost going to do that because I didn't know. I was like, how am I going to stop doing this? Because every time I'd stop, I'd get so sick.
Yeah, the kick is crazy.
Yeah, I'm like, this is crazy. And you did plant medicine.
I did
once, and it just was like done.
Nope.
No, it took more than that.
I'm on 22 now.
No.
Yes, but it didn't take. It took more than once. It took more than once.
It did take more than once.
Yeah.
So you had pills after?
I did.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
I wasn't completely finished, and what the plant medicine did, and unbeknownst to me at the time, was it stops it from having any kind of similar effect. So the way it used to make me feel, it was opposite. So the relief that it would give me, or the feeling of that, whatever that supposed relief is, that false relief, it shifted it so it made everything worse, right? And it told me when I was in the medicine, she said, these things are going to fall away one way or the other, but they just won't work anymore. It'll be on when you're ready, you'll stop when you're done suffering, but it's never going to work the same. I, of course, had to test that theory, and it was 100% true. I tested it again, and I tested it again, and it just got darker and darker, and way darker than. And every time I would do a ceremony or a journey, I would release and let go of the craziest things, but they were so dark. Like everything, I would always go in on a dark note, and they say that ayahuasca's sweet, the sweetness, but when you're in it, it feels like it's getting all the bitterness out, right? And so the agony of physical pain and all of the things that I had to go through was always super dark, and just kept getting darker. But they was just leaving, and it was all part of the synchronicity, So it's actually been the last 2 times that have been my biggest shifts.
It's a spiritual thing too, because even when I saw you taking, how would you say that, from doing your first ayahuasca journey,
yeah,
and seeing you now, seeing how you were just in your eyes, but that's also too clarity and not being on drugs, but you could tell that there's something else going on.
Yeah.
Right when you turned your back, we were at Agape.
Yep.
Shout out to Agape.
Yeah.
Reverend Michael Beckwith. And you were sitting in front of me and you turned your head. It was like almost, I'm like, there's Johnney. Right?
It was really, really Johnney too. Yeah, you actually.
That's why I saw your eyes. I was telling you, and then I knew we were both saying stuff, because I was like, I couldn't wait to talk to you. Because I was telling her, I go, oh, this is going to be funny. I can't wait to talk to him. I heard you talking in the lobby. You were saying something, and you were like, he's a yogi. Because we were both like, it was years.
Yeah.
And so we're looking back at that going like, wow. And then when we run into each other, is at Agape.
I mean, it's just, that's again, like the synchronicities of the way it works is always mind blowing to me now, because I'm aware of all of them. Like I see all of them. Not this Thursday, last Thursday, I went to do plant medicine with Avril, and
how many times have you done it with her?
Well, we've done it just us two, like 2 times now.
Together?
It's been amazing, and I've done it with her 5 or 6 times, more than that actually, 4, 8. And it's been amazing to do it, because it's so funny to see. I'll be like spinning and speaking in tongues and just like demon-esque stuff at the shaman, and she's on the couch next to me going, She's on all everything.
Do you feel that each time that you do that you have a journey, that it's moving you forward in a direction of where you're trying to get to? Like, or do you feel that each time that you take the medicine, 100%. Do you feel that you're getting what you're seeking to get?
And so much more, so much more. Like, you don't go backwards, you know what I mean? Like, you never go backwards in life, and even though it feels like it, we're not going backwards. We're only moving forwards, closer to creation. So everybody that feels, for me at least, what I got to see was, you know, the way that your soul's journey is, it's going forward. Because a lot of my journeys, I would see the craziest things, and it was just past life stuff, you know, and it got me to the point now today where it's just the conscious contact. Like, it does surgery on me, which is, you know, people that do ayahuasca will understand. I just get into this crazy surgery for like an hour of it, and then it goes straight to conscious contact, and God talks and I listen.
Right.
And it's crazy, but
it's we use a different word for it. It's,
right.
It's normal.
It's normal.
That's the thing, is so many people that look at it as if it's crazy, and it feels crazy.
Yeah,
It does.
it does feel crazy.
Because it's something else happening that, like, people are not letting us know that this is accessible.
Right.
We have access to this. And I feel that, you know, like when I had and even the word awakening, but
it is.
They have symptoms, and I had them, and I went through it, and I went through this change. But now I'm like, God, this is amazing. But even I think this week is National Suicide Week, or Suicide Prevention Week, and when you look at that, and all the people that, especially now with COVID and everything, committing suicide.
Yeah.
40% of the people that more than like 40% of people that commit suicide do it from depression, which has to do, I feel, with like really having breakdowns and not breakthroughs with having these experiences. It's like a spiritual depression.
It is that.
You know?
Yeah, it's a huge amount of blockage. And, you know, I'm so grateful for this and you know, the space between, because Big Pharma wants nothing to do with us doing this. You know what I mean? Because it is a huge shift for depression. It's like, for all of the things that it works on the most, it's depression that it works on the most.
Well, it's a trip, because if you go look at like the symptoms for bipolar disorder, right? If you go look at for schizophrenia, you know, even if you go look at for depression,
yeah,
they all mirror this exactly the same as the symptoms of an awakening. You know, it's all to do with moods and feeling, right? That's what it does. It starts affecting the way you feel, your emotions, because you don't know what's happening. You're having mood swings, ups and downs. Like you don't know. You start crying for some reason. Then you start to feel like you're Jesus, and then you start telling people, "Yo, you're like, oh, you're out of here, bro.
Yep.
You're going straight to where the sky is green and the trees are blue."
That's right.
Right, and then so I do believe that the blurred lines between mental health and spirituality are so blurred, and I think that with plant medicine and other things that rather than pharmaceuticals, I was like, that's why they were saying, like, especially for people like me and you that have done so much drugs, when they were telling me, usually I would find a way, like if I was in there, I would have been like, I could talk so many pills out of these people. And I was like, no, I don't want that. And then they were like, no, if you don't take it, then you can't leave.
Right.
And I was like, oh, you know what I mean? So it just changed the dynamic of it, and also changed the dynamic of how I thought, because the things that were really important to me, which were money and things that made me feel safe, became less important to me, which made me look like was losing my mind, actually.
Which is hilarious, because for me, it was the bullshit of Broken Brain, you know. So Broken Brain to me is now, which I get to watch, which is so, you know, most of the time, some of the times I get invested in, I have a relationship with Broken Brain, but now I'm trying to separate myself from Broken Brain. So I look at my brain as if I took my brain out of my head and I made it a person, right? Like a singer says, if you make it like a real person and you just listen to that dude for 3 hours, bro, you'll be like, you gotta get the fuck out of here, man. You are psycho. You're the most psycho person I've ever met, because we shift in one thought. It goes from agreeing to disagreeing and making all the right calls on both sides. It's like, it's the most fucked up thing, right? So the brain, but for me, it was like I had all this abandonment and adoption and all that nonsense, that emotions that we create, which are also, I was chosen, I was put up, I had the miracle of birth.
That fucks with you a lot, the adoption thing.
It does, but you know what? It shouldn't. When you actually get to look at it, if you can see it,
but you have to go through it.
You have to go through it.
Right. It's the same thing. Like it's going through those things that you start to, you know, as a kid, or how you intake, these feelings. You know, for me with my dad and my mom, I used to, with my first wife, I would sit there and cry about my dad when I was drinking.
Right.
I didn't even realize I'd do it, but every night she'd go, "You didn't cry about your dad." I go, "No, I don't." Something kept coming out. Something in me would get really upset about this dude that I felt that should have been there more.
Right.
Right. And then I kind of, as I got older, I was actually like, "Oh, I'm cool." Everything that happened was for this to be the way. Yeah.
That's right.
But everybody has to figure that out.
And not everybody does, and it's, you know, and I that's for me the hardest part, is because I want everybody to feel this way and understand what this looks like, but it's not the way it works. I mean, for the last 4 times I've done ceremony, because I'm such an advocate of ayahuasca, but now it's not about the pitch, you know what I mean? It's about me shifting, and the more I shift, the more they just come to me. I don't have to say anything about it, right? And she said, you could pitch it all day long, Johnny, but the only people that are going to come are the ones that are called.
Right.
Right. So, you know, because if I could tell in 2 seconds if I talk about ayahuasca, it's a beat, or when I'm on the plane with them, and, you know, they shut right down. There's no receptiveness at all. So I don't keep it moving. You know what I mean? Because
you know what it is too, though? I felt that coming into it, because there's, like, if you watch Gaia, right? You know the Gaia network? You look at that, like, there's really cool things on it. And if you're conscious, you'd stay there all day.
Sure.
Right? But if you're not really a conscious guy, you might go there and get like, well, this might be interesting. The alien thing is cool for a second, right? So the whole idea when this happened was to have something to where it can make sense on a linear level, though. There's stories you could tell. Like if I was to think of a movie that you could show to a conscious crowd or unconscious crowd, I go Shawshank Redemption. You know, think of 10 movies that you could go. So it's really bridging with stories like this platform, and talking about these things, but with a positive spin on them. Like you could do a show about, like, what's the reality show that was super popular, like Locked Up. Right. But you do something else called won't say the name of it, but about bringing yoga into correctional facilities, but really real and real the same way. You have same stories, but it's got a positive twist on it.
That's amazing. That's a great way. Yeah.
So all you're doing is the same thing, but changing the story a little bit, the narrative, so that what you're doing is showing, you know, the hero's journey through it. Right.
And not people are so invested in. Well, we're so fear driven, right? So everything we watch is it's. If you could see somebody else going through something that's a little bit worse than what you're going through, like Locked Up, or, you know, like all of the shows, this is the platform and the way you do it is exactly the way it needs to be done, because it everybody can relate on some level.
I think so. Like someone's asking me, like, what do you think? I said, it's not, the guy thinks cool, but it's almost like, if you were to ask me, it's like almost like Vice, but conscious, like edgy stuff, but that has a really conscious things, what's really happening, but what you should actually do with compassion. Like, we're living in a real world.
Right.
But like, make decisions made with compassion. And not all of them are always going to seem like they're made with compassion, because what you have to cut through to get to what you need to do. You know, as far as like, look at the you know, the landscape of what's happening in the world today, and it's starting to seem normal. It's so every day, the next day comes so shitty. You're like, oh yeah. They'll be like, oh yeah, you're about to get lit up by North Korea. Oh, I know. It's supposed to happen.
Yep. Right? That's exactly it.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Got it.
That'll happen.
Pandemic. Yeah. Like it's almost like every time I look at something, something looks just wilder than the next.
I'm glad that you brought that up, because there's something that I wanted to ask you about that, because right now I'm in a spiritual ego awakening right now. Still, right? I haven't 100% surrendered to just love and light and all of that. Because I just haven't gotten there yet. Right? I'm still working. Right. So Beck was talking about it last Sunday, and it's a spiritual ego, you know, and it's knowing what awakening, but not truly knowing what awakening is. Right. You know what I mean? So right now I'm at a part in mine where I feel like I'm losing empathy, right? Like, because I know now more than anything that everybody is we're one energy, but everybody's on their, and because God literally said, Johnny, this is your one time, only made personal soul's journey, only for you, never to be done again in the eternity of time. This is your journey. Nobody else gets it. It's yours. And I was like, oh shit, that makes sense. And that's his, right? So then I'm like, well, then I know if something's happening with that person, I know that it's for a much bigger reason. So I don't get as worried as I used to. I don't worry about them. I just come at them with compassion, but I feel like I've lost empathy. Does that make sense?
Yeah, a little bit. I'm just thinking through everything you
Yeah.
said just now.
I know it's heavy, but it's just
It's
where.
not heavy. It's just, if you're really thinking, I was listening to everything you said, so, looking at the approach and.
Because like you said, like, oh, North Korea, yep, that's supposed to happen. Oh, what, that's COVID, well, that's just a cleansing for Mother Nature doing cleansing.
It's
That's really,
it's. I was talking to Travis about this, and it's just this thing of no attachment.
right.
And having no attachment, like people say it, but like really, because even when it's a bad thing, like horrible, like I've like loving the horrible things. That sounds weird, but a lot of the things in my life I've gotten from the horrible things. Like
Right.
decisions I've gotten, I'm like, no, this isn't the way it has to go because I need this, and if I don't,
Of course.
and then this horrible thing, so it's seeming horrible at the time, leads me to this next thing that's so amazing, which I'm like, okay, so the attachments and the polarities of these things that happen in these experiences for me is learn that balance, and every time I attach to it is kind of like, and I go with it, I'm like, no, that's for me personally, and if I get too vested, it's not what God wants.
Personal preference.
That's what I want.
Right.
So just let it go.
Personal preference.
It's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
it's like a rope that goes by and it's spinning by, and if you grab it, it pulls you in and burns your
Yeah,
hand off.
yep.
So you just let that thing go by.
Yeah.
I don't trust that rope.
Yeah.
Like it take me
There's a
in.
lot of rope.
Yeah, they're going by over.
Yeah,
You just
yeah.
got to be all like wax on, wax off.
Yep. That's what that's the progression, right? Is knowing that, truly knowing that, and being aware of all of those ropes coming at you, and knowing just to let that emotion pass through. Like that, and that's not easy.
In life, we'll look at ropes. That's what mental illness is. All those ropes, having a breakdown. It could be anything. It could be your kid. It could be having an awakening, and people telling you that you're crazy, and actually think that you could be losing your family, and all the things are the most important things in your world to you. But you just act like you're fine because you don't want to look crazy, or you don't want to break down and act like you're sad because they go, oh, he's crazy. He's breaking down.
Right.
Right? And meanwhile, you're being separated from your family. And they, you know what I mean? Like these things are real, and
They are real.
They're so real.
Yeah.
And so when these people are going through that or having these experiences, and there's kids too, younger kids having these experiences, and that's the from suicide to the bipolar. Like you look at Kanye West, bro, it's crazy. So if you look at TV and you go, that dude's got bipolar disorder. He's wearing a bulletproof vest around. We just were told that was my idol about a couple, and now he's wearing a bulletproof vest. Yeah. I don't know if I want to say I'm bipolar. That may happen to me. Right? That may happen to me. And then I was like thinking about that because I was in UCA medical center the same day he was for the same shit.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, we were both. That guy was having a full blown awakening. But he's totally, you could see, he's kind of like, he's thinking he's Jesus. He's going like, come on, bro, I thought it was Jesus too.
Yeah.
Then I was like, I heard he was there. I'm like, oh, there's another Jesus on the floor? There's a black Jesus here. I got to see the black Jesus. They're like, yeah, he's right down the hall. And I was like, damn. But it was interesting just going through it because there were so many kind of, like this guy was kind of in and out of my life. Like he was, like he was working at one of my post-production facilities. And then my kids were friends with his nieces. So that he was always around. So there was these kind of weird kind of intersects, Yeah. And then when I looked at it, I was like, that's the somebody not being able to break through.
Right. That's what it looks like.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it looks like.
And the right person, like a real, it was so great to see, what's his name? Dave Chappelle, go support him.
Yep.
I was like, that's rad, bro. Like, because that really was somebody else that was going through that. And there's nothing better than to have somebody else that had gone through that experience to support you.
It's everything.
Yeah.
And so I had already come to peace with the adoption thing, right? I had gone on to and shown that I got to see first time my parents that raised me, my parents,
right,
picked me up and held me. First time I said mom or dada, and the joy and love that I brought to them, and with that joy and love, they didn't think they could have kids, and then they had my brother and my sister, right? So, but I always had that adoption thing going on, and for a long time, and it was a big catalyst in my addiction because I had that abandonment issue led to fraud, actor, lack of self-worth, thrown away, just all the endless.
The mush.
Remember
that?
That's right, the
yeah.
mush, right?
Yeah.
So always that.
Yeah.
And the mush was basically anything I touched would not turn to gold, right? And so that's the way I always envisioned myself for a long time. So now that I'm in this place, I think 3 years ago I'd reached out to a private investigator, but I was still in the darkest place. But I would find glimmers of light. And during those moments of light, I would do some amazing things, right? It's like calling Melanie, this private detective that found my friend's mom. So for the last 3 years, I've been in and out of the darkness, and I would always keep in contact with her, but I would never push the button, right? And then she's like, just get Ancestry. So I got Ancestry. And last Thursday, not this the one that just passed, but the one before, right before I went into ceremony in Long Beach, she called and said, can you hook me up with your Ancestry? I want to try to do some work on it. I said, yeah. So I went on to Ancestry and allowed her to come into it. And I did the medicine, and the medicine said, you are on the other side of the coin of suffering. You have done all of the lessons. Your soul's journey on that is over. Congratulations. What a relief, right? And I'm going, yes. I'm crying, yes. Right. And it's like, you just know that life is about to open up beyond your wildest dreams. Just let go. It's right there. Your rebirth is like right here. And I'm like, oh my God, thank God, right? So we get done. It's Friday morning. We go home. Saturday, I get a call from Melanie. Do you have time to talk? And I'm like, oh, not right now. You know what I mean? Not right now. Because I just got done, And then Sunday, I call her, and she's like, we got 2 choices for your dad, 2 choices for your mom. I'm like, whoa, what? She's like, so she shows me these choices. Both dads are dead, and one of the mothers is dead. And the one was 22, and one was 18 when they had me. One was 22, one was 18. So I thought it was 18-year-old, 69, right? So free love in Syracuse, New York, I was born. Right. So Monday she calls me and she says, I just got off the phone with your mom. I was like, what? She's like, yeah. And so she tells me a little bit about her, and she goes, I'm on speaker with Avril sitting next to me, and we're like, holy shit, right? Because it was 4 days it took her, Right. Like, I'm like, I wasn't ready for any of that, you know what I mean? Like, I was so fucking douche with that,
right.
And she goes, I asked her at the end of the conversation, do you want me to relay a message to Johnney? Because she could, my biological mom thought it was a hoax, you know what I mean? It's 51 years later, she never thought the call was ever going to come. So, but by the end, she realized it because she said my birth date. She said, that's my son, right? So she said, yeah.
How old was she?
She's 73. She was 22 when she had me.
Did she say she sounded like onto it, as far as like a young 73-year-old?
Yeah, for sure.
Obviously, she knew to call
Yep,
in 4 days.
For sure. And so she said, do you have any message do you want me to relay to Johnney? And she said, tell Johnney that I have loved him every day since the day he was born. And at that moment, with Al and I crying right there, a part of my heart just completely healed. Like I'd already come to know that I was chosen and everything was good, but just those words, and everything shifted for me. Like,
right.
And now my parents and her husband, the synchronicities are crazy. They just go on and on. I won't even get into it with you, but I'll tell you, it's from Puleo, where I lived with my dad when he was in the military, was where my father was from, to me being conceived on July 19th, which is both of my parents, who were born the same day, same year, same month. That day, I was conceived on that day. They had manifested me 2 years before. I mean, and then they just talked yesterday for almost 2 hours, the biological parent and the parents that raised me. So the healing that went on through that was the most intense healing I've ever experienced at one time. It wasn't just me.
This was yesterday.
This was last week.
Oh, okay, I thought yesterday.
Yesterday they called though.
No,
yesterday,
and they got you today. That's pretty rad.
Yeah.
Wow.
But anyway,
but with you, with that, like, how is that you, like, marinating on all that? Like, all those years of feeling
crazy.
And thinking and going.
I know. So grateful. Grateful because.
And where are they at, you said?
They're in Florida now. They were from Syracuse.
Are they on social media? Did you want to see them?
I did not on social media. I got pictures of them, and I sent pictures. I said, you have grandkids? And she's like, oh shit. And she swears like a sailor. We have the same laugh.
So you have other...
No, she never had kids.
Really?
She's been with her husband, Rocco. So my son's name's Rocco.
That's kind of cool, because if she had I have 9 other ones. You're the only one I gave away.
Whatever. Yeah.
Those ones, I didn't even say it like that. But yeah, we have 17 kids. The 18th, you were the 18th one. We just said no.
Sorry, you were
No.
the last one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are always trippy. That's amazing.
But it's just good. I was never available before, Joey. I could have never
Wow.
been available for this because it's a lot. Like awakening is a lot. You know what I mean? There's a lot going on, and I wasn't available until it happened. But the synchronicity just goes on forever, and it showed me that all of the moments of my life, how they led to. I'm gonna tell you one more quick thing about that. Last time I was in ceremony before this one, it was real intense, and the ego was coming out in some sort of other spirit form, some sort of other entity, and he was very upset, right? And then he ends up praying and doing all this stuff, and then as a second round goes through me, the medicine lies me down, because I lose full control of what I'm doing, so it lies me down face down on the mat that I was on. And in this humming sort of thing, I'm saying, for an hour and a half probably, saying thank you over and over and over and over and over and over, and crying thank yous, laughing thank yous, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, and showing me everybody in my life, you included, thanking them for every moment that got me here today, that got me into the medicine, that got me here, right? Mm-hmm. So it was a lot of thank yous, and I felt so much relief with that, right? I thought that was it. So we were driving to. A week or two later, we're going to go to Tahoe. My Avril and her mother was a healer. And I'm being a bitch, right? I don't know what the emotion is, and I'm attached to it, and I don't even know what it is. But I'm fully attached to it, and I'm feeding it. And it's getting worse and worse, and I'm being like the worst dude, right? Like, this is a great time. So we get to Tahoe, I drive the whole way. I'm just a bitch. Let's listen to Michael Singer now, you know what I mean? Like that guy, you know what I mean? Yeah. And so we get there, and they're like, we're going to go to Lake. Do you want to come? And they get it. So they're like, and I'm like, fuck that lake. I'm not going to any lakes, you know what I mean? Like,
no water.
Right. I don't want anything to do with nature, right? But I go, maybe I'll take a hike, So they went left, and I'm arguing with myself, and as I'm putting on my hiking things, and I don't know where I am, and I just start walking, right? And I see this trailhead, and I start walking, and my brain's going, dude, there's black bears out here, you're gonna get killed. Right? I'm like, yeah, I know, whatever, right? Cougars, it's just fear. I'm just gonna keep walking, I walk all the way to the top, and it's at the top of this chairlift, and I can see all the lakes, you know what I mean? I'm like, oh shit, and I had this like moment, right? I start to walk down the hill, and a voice in my head goes, what's with the baby Johnney bitch move that you're doing right now? What's that all about? And then another voice said, maybe baby Johnney never got a chance to let go and mourn when he found out that he was adopted. And it flashed me back to that time when I went right into fear and anger, and right away the moment I was told, and never from that point. And then I started crying uncontrollably, walking down that mountain, saying thank you again that many times. But the camera was reversed, and it was on little Johnny, and then it was on 7-year-old Johnny, and it was on junkie Johnny, it was on fat Johnny, it was on every Johnny that I've gone through, thanking myself, which I've never done.
It's interesting too, you were walking up a hill, and you went and you shed it, and as you walked, you came back down the hill. Mm-hmm. That's interesting.
Crazy, right?
Yeah. It's so interesting, the way you expressed all the Johnnies. Mm-hmm. Because of how real that is for kids or younger, when you're going through these things, you're going through these experiences, they're real. These different parts of your growth and how you perceive yourself or how you think people perceive you, and then carrying that around. And then that's why when you drink, you're like, who gives a fuck?
Doesn't matter.
You're just like, I'm just gonna get loaded, and then I'm actually cool. I like myself because I'm laughing now.
Yep.
Right. And so that's where
that false sense of love with that comes with alcohol and drugs. At least it alleviates the self-hate. For me, it wasn't even about that. I love myself. I mean, initially it was fun it was great until it wasn't.
Right.
So 2007, that was for me. It was 2007 when it wasn't great anymore. When it was affecting my other parts of my life drastically. And then I got into the self-hate, and then it got heavier and heavier with that. Right. So there was no self-love. So it would just kind of numb the self-hate. Right, and all of that, and that's just part of growth. You know what I mean? Like getting to the, but you're right, because you're going to go through a lot of those emotions at some point in your life, throughout your life, and being able to connect to just love before then is, this is not the path I would recommend for everybody.
Right.
Everybody's got their own.
Right. And it happens when it happens.
Right. And there is no rhyme or reason.
I think that with like just mindfulness in general, I think that if it was exposed to correctional facilities and into school systems, but just that kind of real self-awareness that would lead you, what led you to where you are.
Yes.
It took a plant medicine, but that plant medicine makes you very self-aware of what's going on inside.
It found me, what I mean? Like I had to get to death before find life. And that's, what as Beck was said recently, last week, he said, you have to, if you hold on to life, you'll die. If you die, you get life, right? Like the seed, if it tried to hold on to being a seed forever, the plant wouldn't grow. Yeah. And so that's the same thing, but you're right, going in and teaching mindfulness, even generational is a good start.
It's gotta be, if we don't do something, like there's gotta be something, like we're sitting here looking at this and you're going like, these people are saying they're highly educated, smart, but I'm looking at everything going like, this can't be what we think of where we're going. We're about to go to World War III right now. You got China, the Pacific Rim, you got India, fucking with China, fucking with, just first Tibet, now going. It's real. You're looking at it going like, this is really happening.
Yeah. And
these people are adults, and they're talking about firing off missiles and nuclear bombs to one another, and you're like going like, and then we have to go back and listen to them and be like, oh, they're not mad anymore. They've all figured shit out. We're all cool. I'm gonna go get some bread now.
Yeah.
The pandemic, just stay inside, run quick, don't breathe in anybody, 6 feet away.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
And then you're looking at all these things go down. You look at the suicide rate, you look at people, depression, and all these things happening. And I think that's why things that we're talking about are so vitally important just for everyone, having mindfulness and looking at what's going on right now, just at taking an inventory of what's happening to kind of set yourself in the day before you leave.
Right.
To really be ready for what's going on. That's why, so you don't have these ones and start to, this is easy to get kind of, I could see, I feel pretty locked in right now, but I could see with the shit happening, that how people would be freaking out,
Absolutely. Absolutely. The shift can come from us, by us doing our work like you're doing now, right? This is what the shift for me looks like. These moments, shifting just yourself and the people around you, because that spider web goes super far, way further than we could ever imagine. These moments will hit, if it just hits 1%, we need 8%, right? So if you get 1%.
Right, and the shift is this, and until we do this, and whoever's listening, if you're actually listening,
yes,
right, call in, do whatever you have to do. But what we have to do is we have to make it so if you go to a hospital, you go to a doctor, and you have the symptoms that sound like you're having a breakdown, and you are having an awakening, that they recognize those symptoms and may treat you differently, or send you to somebody that's recognizing that you're having an awakening and you're not losing your fucking mind. Once you do that, then you can start to change what's happening. Until then, we're still going to just keep cycling through, because society or Western medicine, they're not taught.
Western is what it is.
Yeah, they're not taught to recognize what an awakening is. They're taught to. They're going to look at that as soon as you start saying that if you're feeling people or an energy communicating with you, psychiatrist is going to tell you should be on a medication. Look, granted, I don't want to get all too heavy. Sure, there's many other places that you can go to if you're having these experiences now.
Yep.
Right? But at the same time, there's all this other heaviness happening. So there is a shift happening.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
And it does feel like people will probably need these type of things after going through a lot of this shit.
I think this shit has given us the time to do this shit. You know what I mean? Like that's what that's for me. COVID is it. It's something that is out of our control, and it's going to hit who it's going to hit no matter what. You know what I mean? Like that's I'm under the firm philosophy. I'm not going to walk around a COVID-filled hospital without a mask on, but I still believe that it's going to, if it's going to come, it's going to come, and you're going to go through it or you're not, and whatever's going to happen is already there.
It's here. We're here.
Right?
We're in it.
We're here.
We're in it, bro.
We're in it now, and it's going to be here until it's not, and until and that's the way it's going to work. But it feels like an awakening to me. It's like this, our mother. It's like Pachamama away,
Something.
shifting, and it's because there's so much happening at once.
It's so much. I was just talking, if you talk about too deeply, like, because my mom was real religious, right? I guess I'm real spiritual, but she was very, very Catholic.
Right, I was
right.
raised
But when you look at that, like the stuff that was written in the Bible and all the stuff they talk about, like a lot of this stuff, it seems like it's happening.
Yeah, I mean, it does.
I'm just saying, like what? Come on, bro.
No, I was thinking Catholicism too, but yeah, it does. But I have a hard time with the God of punishment.
Not God of not that. Well, yeah, no, I do. You're right.
Yeah,
you're right. Me too. But how is it that they knew? I'm telling you, the aliens must have wrote it.
They did though.
How would they know? Pandemic, all this stuff that's happening. There's watch all this stuff popping off. You have locusts. You're gonna have like volcanoes are already erupting, earthquakes popping off.
Yeah, no, I know.
And every day something else happens. That's why I said I'll be like, oh, really? Oh, okay, no big deal.
Yeah.
We're all like, we're so resilient. Oh yeah, 5 planes just fell. Oh, it's fine.
How many? Oh yeah, it happens. Yeah.
I guess the moral of the story is when shit goes wrong, don't go wrong with it.
That's correct.
Right?
Don't allow yourself to let that emotion go through you. Like you said, those hot ropes, those ropes that burn your hands right off. That to me is everything.
Yeah.
Is being able to identify and let it go. I mean, and also like you said, exactly right. Personal preference for me never pays off. Ever. So whatever my real personal preference, if I'm really, really like. If broken brain is going, fuck that, you know what I mean? We are not doing that shit. Right. And I'm going right away, I'm going to go right towards that.
Right.
Because that would be what God and the universe is showing me, right? It's opening up to me. This is the door that's opening for you. This thing is like, doesn't want anything to do with it. I know it's right.
Right. The fact that we're sitting here right now is a perfect example of all the decisions that were made with your mom. Everything you did were exactly where they were supposed to be. Like I was like saying, because there's a bunch of weird things my dad did that were so crazy that I'd be like, wow, all those things he did had to happen for me to actually be here. But if I said them, it'd be like, wow, but it's true.
Yeah.
I actually was talking to somebody, like, I have a better relationship, I think, with my dad now that he's passed. And I communicate with him.
Sure.
But I think he understands obviously things a lot differently, and I do as well. And it's a real interesting kind of dynamic having a relationship before and after, and knowing it's so real. Like I think that if more people understood that, they'd probably act differently here. You know what I mean? They would be like, well, there's something else. You can't take it with you, right? And a lot of people don't act like that.
Right, but because religions kind of say right. If you don't do this amount of good, then you're going to go
hell.
Here. But yes, the true freedom for me is all fear stem from death. For me,
right.
They've all stemmed from death. Right?
Well, I think that's all fear. I think that everybody comes from wanting to be safe because of death.
Right. And ironically enough, because God, when I'm in a ceremony, it's a sense of humor. I'm going through that stage with God. I'm in that stage of this journey for myself, letting go of body, because everything else is let go of death. But body doesn't want to die. Body's still like, brain and body like, no, that, you know what I mean? We're not doing that. We're not ready for that. Heart already knows, right? So it's showing me what death looks like and how beautiful and transitional it really is, right? Yeah. And so it was when I was driving to go there was a sign that said, had COVID, sell plasma, 1-800-SELL-PLASMA. And Alvin and I were driving, we're like, is this like 2090? What is happening? You know what I mean? Like literally on the 710.
That's off a movie, right?
Right? It's like a fucking
like
Blade
the
Runner
end of the
shit.
movie. What are you doing? I'm going to sell plasma.
Yeah.
We need water and we're selling plasma.
Right. Fucking apocalypto,
Right.
And so when I was doing the medicine and we were going through death and I'm physically dying in it and everything, God goes, hey, Johnny, if I was going to do a billboard, it would say death, way better than advertised.
Right.
You know what I mean? Way better than advertised.
I feel that.
Yeah.
I'd be careful what I say, because I've said, to my new wife, I'm willing to go because of my understanding of what that is. And I think everybody, but meaning, yeah, of course, because of having a new baby, my kid, oh no, I don't want to, but I also feel that, you know, like I'd be able to take new form and do different things. And, you know, like, you know, when I have communication with people and they're telling me and how beautiful and I'm like, wow, that's cool. So this is just part of it. So this is just as important as that.
Yep.
And then there's one after that.
That's right.
You know, so
journey.
Love all of them and experience all of them and do as much as you can positively here so you can take that into the next one.
Or not have to go through the same lessons.
No, you're going to have to do it there.
Yeah.
That's what I think I figured out, right?
Yeah.
I was like, damn, if I start doing some good shit now from all the bad shit I did, maybe then when I get there, I can be a little more chill. Meaning,
yeah.
You know,
but I'm also like, is there such thing as good and bad? You know
what
I mean?
That's right. You're right. It's not. It's lessons, and it's really just kind
lessons.
of decisions. It's
That's
decisions.
it. It's the choices that you make and decisions and lessons that you learn.
Yeah, because bad is yeah. I was talking to Travis about that. It's a separation. What the good is good. What makes you happy? It's a better way of looking at it.
Right.
What
There's just love, right?
Yeah.
There's only love, and what you're doing is nothing has to do with anything that right or wrong, good or bad.
Oh, that is it.
Love. That's all there is.
That's it.
I mean, it just.
All you need is love.
Right. Yes, I think that's a
Right,
good song.
Luca?
It is true, though.
I'm telling you.
That's all there is.
Right on. Well, I just want to tell you, thank you, bro, for coming in.
Yeah, I hope I didn't bore you too much, man.
No, dude, you're great. I had you come in again. We'll do it again. We'll screw this one
Okay.
up. We'll have you the third time.
All right.
But thanks, Johnney Messner. What are you working on, anyways? I know that
you know what? I just got done working with on a movie called Apex with Bruce Willis, and I'm doing a lot of the producing side. You know, hopefully you and I, of course, we're going to do something, and about 4 lined up, ready to go. COVID's a super wrench right now for everybody, and so, you know, just I think the next one's the end of October, Reactor. So just
who's that? Who's producing that?
Headgear is financing it, and Danny Roth is producing it.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you kept busy though. You've been like you live, make a living.
I make a living. Working. You know what? Because I to be honest, Joey, it's because I've let go of all of it, and I don't even care like about that side anymore. When I'm there, I do the best job I can.
Yeah.
But it's not really.
No, but your sense of, you know, I don't, you know what's up. You're fucking great. You're a pleasure to be around. And,
oh man, I'm so grateful to be here. I can't believe I'm here.
Yeah, and after we shut the cameras off, we'll talk for another 4 hours. I'm just kidding. Thank you for coming in. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll see you.